Hi, this is a video on the fact that Uranus has just gone into Taurus. Now, some of you, that'll make sense. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you won't have an idea, well, what the hell does that mean, And to put it really simply, there is a planet Uranus in our solar system that tends to be the focal point for innovation, for change, for new and exciting things, for opening up possibilities in the future, even things like technology and the development of consciousness, new ideas, new thinking, and new ways of perceiving the world and even being aware of the world. And that tends to be the focal point for that. And it happens to have spent the last 7 years, since 2011, in an area of the zodiac, a background energy that is all to do about turning negative energy into positive energy. It's to do with initiating new things. It's about taking whatever's negative around and turning it into something more positive. And it's the beginning of a new cycle. It's a strongly masculine type of energy. So consciousness and evolution of technology and change over the last 7 years has started a new 84-year cycle, and it's going, okay. Previous 84 years led to 2011, whatever's been going on there for 84 years. What in it, irrespective of whether we think it's great or not so great, what in it there is actually not going to work in a person's best interests? What actually is negative, no matter how it's dressed up? What's negative? And how can we start a new cycle of bringing out the more positive dimensions or aspects or expressions of that? And so for 7 years, we've been looking at the world, in a sense, reviewing what the previous 84 years brought to us, what we did, what we were involved with. And you can go, that's a huge and crucial part of history, going way back, world wars, major changes in politics, shifts in beliefs and ideas and consciousness, the old ways giving way to at least the initiation and the birth of whole new possibilities, technological changes, phenomenal stuff. That 84-year period of history, that goes, it's since 1935? A long time. Long time. Or the 1930s. And it's just like, a lot happened there. Now, what can we take out of that that's really positive? Like, where's our democracy and our ideas of democracy at? What has happened in terms of dictatorships and how we've dealt with them? Changes in the financial situation around the world. People thriving and people in poverty, all sorts of things. And then this whole alternative consciousness movement that happened in the last 30 or 40 years. What's positive about that? And what's negative? Where's it all airheaded and not grounded in the real world? Or where are people trying to make it so real that they're missing the point, that there is something fresh and new in that. But what is that? And the last 7 years have been years of being honest about that. Or at least we've had the energy where we can honestly address that. And you can see it in the political shifts that have happened. You can see it in the changes in technology. You know, Facebook was the great wonder, and now, you know, it's got its vulnerabilities, its weaknesses, its downsides, just as anything else. And so I'm just putting that in perspective because I left this video until Uranus actually moved into Taurus. It happened where I live just after 10 o'clock last night. And so it's been around in Taurus for 14 hours now, right? And I wanted to talk with you and share my perspective on that from actually being in it, rather than doing a video that went, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, you know, wow. Because for the first time in 21 years, Uranus has moved into a dimension of energy, a part of our makeup that's down to earth, where practical down to earth energies exist. It's moved into an astrological jargon, an earth sign, and it hasn't been there since 1997. And it spent 7 years from the beginning of the 90s to 1997 in a practical, down-to-earth sign, as they call it, or energy framework. It was like innovation, which is what Uranus is about, the timing was right to bring out what can be achieved with innovation in the 1990s to 1997. And some incredibly significant things either started or happened during that period. Some of them well known, some of them rather esoteric and hidden. But there were, you know, big shifts happened. Like the future of the world changed in 1994 at a very subtle but deeply profound level. And in 1997, we got to a point consciously where, as a humanity, whether we know it or not, whether anyone delivered you a letter about it or not, we decided the future was going to be a positive future. Now, how positive is up to us, but it wasn't going to be a disaster. It wasn't going to end up in whatever tragedy or nuclear war or whatever people had been fretting about for decades. You know, it wasn't all going to go down the toilet. There was going to be a new future, and it was going to be really new. Not new ideas, but new in its whole nature, fresh. Something that hadn't existed before, growing out of and still embracing the essence of what has always been true, but growing out of our past experiences. So that was a really significant time. As a humanity, you know, Uranus in Capricorn, for those of you who know astrology, we decided, you know, we're going to achieve what we're capable of achieving. We're going to grow up and mature as human beings. You know, we're not just going to blow it out in some adolescent craziness. You know, we're going to grow up as a humanity. Now, we didn't decide we're all going to become what I used to dream of as a hippie, all enlightened and wonderful and all that sort of stuff. We didn't decide that. We decided we were going to grow up. And then we spent the next 21 years sorting through everything that had brought us to that point and going, what does that mean about being conscious? And what does that mean about our dreams and our visions and our spirituality and our friendships earlier than that, friendships and all that. And the last 7 years, it's like, okay, is this honestly happening? Is this actually gelling, or do we need to, shift and make better decisions? Is probably the best way of putting it. Make decisions that are more grounded in the fact that we actually live in a human body, in a physical reality, and we need to align ourselves with it. So that's sort of the big picture that's led up to this point. And now Uranus has shifted into Taurus. And Taurus is very much, it's an earth sign, so it's down to earth. We need to come back to, okay, is this working in the real world? It's to do with feelings. What you feel physically, what you're aware of physically. Not off in your imagination, but what do you sense? What are you aware of physically? It's to do with values and things that are tangibly valuable, like money and gold and things that have tangible value, whatever that is to you, food, clothing, whatever you need. It's around needs. It's around awareness that we are in a physical body living in a physical world. And again, as I said, aligning ourselves with the fact that whatever we dream and imagine, it's got to have some value to offer in everyday life. It's got to build something that adds value to people's physical lives, not just enriches their mind. A book is an example of that. That's the tangible manifestation of some ideas. But for a long time, books were incredibly valuable because of what they contained and how they added value to a person's life. Tangible money. Okay, we're going crypto and a lot of the stuff on the internet. But it's still, whatever form it comes in, having it impacts your physical life and not having it doesn't. Awareness, the awareness of other people, of the physical environment, of beauty, and pleasure, physical pleasure, sensuality. And at a deeper level, it gets quite profound. Practically, it's about decision making. The best thing about decision making is when you make a decision that's actually of value to you or to your partner or your community or your children or whatever it is that you do. It's interesting. There was a shift in the change in the electricity in the physical world. So, that sort of awareness of what it takes to build something. For instance, in yourself and in your dealings with others,